never show up to a meeting unprepared. Is that frenemy is going to roll you under the bus when you're not in the room. Without a doubt. That frenemy is going to make sure that when you show up, you've covered bases with everybody and make sure that everybody's linked into what you're going to talk about. So the frenemy can't say, well, what about so-and-so? Because they will. For all of you people who are in the Bible, that's called Judas. And for all you people who've been ducking Judas in your life, do not. Because Judas gives you boundaries. Those are the people that give you boundaries in your life to make sure you don't go too far left or too far right. Same thing a frenemy does. They have power if you leverage them. Well, if you know who they are, you can leverage them. Leverage them. These are people you must have in your life. And then you must do simple things to market your own success, to ensure that your brand is out there. Once you identify what your brand is, then you must do the things to ensure your brand is out there. There's a lot of pieces to this that I could go through and uncover. There's two that I'm going to double down on. The first one's in red. It talks about the EQ and the IQ, and how critically important EQ is to you. Most people do not have EQ. Now understand this, EQ is a developed trait. You can develop it. If you don't have IQ, you're just gonna be dumb as a rock your whole life. There's nothing I can do to help you there. But if you have EQ, if you don't have EQ, you can develop EQ. And EQ has some basic fundamental things that you must hone in on. If you think about it this way, you must have self and social awareness. You know a lot of people that don't have self-awareness, don't know how they show up in a room, don't know how the impact of what they said affects the person on the other side. It's another big piece of EQ. Have an emotional awareness, understand that what I say and how it's going to impact you or you or you. Having the ability to pause before something comes out of your mouth. You know how people are who are impulsive. It just comes out, they go, oh, that just slipped, that just came on out. I don't know, I didn't mean to say that. That's because you have no EQ. You might also be dumb, but you don't have any EQ. So having the ability to pause, having the power to pause, being able to communicate versus hurt and say the same thing. I can say the same thing to you and have it come across as information to you, or I can say something to you and hurt you and say the same thing. Sometimes it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Being able to praise others. This is a powerful one. Having the ability to apologize. You all know people who cannot apologize. Or when they do, they shouldn't have done it anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. That's really an apology? These are all features of EQ. I will tell you, in any business, the higher you go up in a corporation, the more important EQ is. Most leaders have a lot of people who have IQ working for them because they have EQ. I consider myself a smart person. My daughter's in this room, she might challenge that. I consider myself that, but I also consider myself that I over-index in EQ. Because it's critically important that you understand that if you have EQ, you can hire a bunch of people with IQ and balance out your organization. So remember that and think about that. The other key thing to that we're going to talk about is the elevator pitch. We won't talk about it here, but I'm going to nail that for you and talk about the elevator pitch. But to do all these things I'm talking about in these last 3 or 4 minutes, you got to make some commitments. You got to be committed to do something, and I mean something that you've never did before, so you can get something that you've never had before.